You're listening to the Creatorpreneur Podcast, Episode 10, and today we're talking about how to create a website that converts and actually have fun making it. So, stay tuned. Hello, my name is Rodney Washington, author, artist, and entrepreneur, and I'm passionate about helping creatives just like you do what lights you up and make a comfortable living while doing it. Each week, I'll be sharing timely business growth, marketing, and mindset hacks and interviews with courageous creative entrepreneurs to inspire you to get paid for your creativity. So grab your favorite beverage, sit back, and enjoy today's show. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by my free audio, book, and PDF, Get Paid for Your Creativity, 57 Ways to Monetize Your Gifts and Create True Security for Yourself. To get your hands on a copy of the free audiobook and PDF, go to getpaidforyourcreativity.com/57ways-gift. If you happen to catch episode 9 of the podcast, I talked about the importance of having a well thought out and personality driven About Me page. And assuming that you're not familiar with an About Me page, well, it's pretty self-explanatory. Essentially, it's a dedicated page on your website where you'll introduce yourself to your new and returning visitors to your website. Now, after I recorded that episode, I had this thought. What if you don't have a website? Or you don't like your existing site? If that describes you, then this episode is for you. And that's why the subject of this episode is called How to Create a Website That Converts and Actually Have Fun Making It. Now, before I deep dive into what I have for you today, I want to let you know that we have a secondary sponsor for today's episode of the podcast, and that sponsor is Leadpages. And Leadpages is a tool that I've used now for going on almost 5 years. I use it to create all of my landing pages that I use to continually build and grow my email list. And if you'd like to see, or if you've already opted in for my free gift, the 57 Ways to Monetize Your Gifts gift, that actual page is a lead page. If you don't have that already, I highly recommend you jump over to my website at getpaidforyourcreativity.com/57ways-gift to get your hands on a copy of that gift. But you also will get a chance to experience a lead page in action. So you can actually see how one actually works and what it looks like. And also, too, I want to make sure that as you're listening to the episode today, because again, this is going to tie into Leadpages in just a moment, I want you to listen to the end because I have another really special gift waiting for you from Leadpages, and it's going to be in a perfect complement to the focus of today's episode. So without further ado, here we go. How to create a website that converts and actually have fun making it. Now, what I want to share with you before I get into the gift I have for you today, because again, this ties into that. I've been in the website design game myself now for a little over 20 years. I started out actually teaching myself web design from scratch back in 1995, I believe, with a program, off-the-shelf program that I purchased called PageMill. And PageMill was a program that was designed by Adobe. Again, back in like 1995, I think I bought it for like $60, but I ended up not even using it for almost 2 years after I bought it. But back then, it was a tool that people who didn't understand coding could use to design their own websites. And at that time, there was an acronym term called WYSIWYG, which was what you see is what you get. So for people who were visual like me, who didn't understand coding and programming, being able to have a tool, a program on your computer. It wasn't nothing back then. There was no WordPress or anything like that around. So you actually had to go buy software to load onto your computer, and you use it to actually put together your web pages. And again, it was all visual. So for someone like me who was visually oriented and didn't understand coding or programming or what anything like HTML or any of that kind of stuff even meant back then, that a program like that was like a godsend. Again, once I got started using it, I want to say actually like 2 years later, like in 1997, by that time, the advancements in web design software grew exponentially. So at that time, there was a company actually called Macromedia, who used to design tools like Dreamweaver, which I eventually graduated to, which was a replacement for PageMill, which was sort of like an entry level software program. Dreamweaver was more for advanced people, but I had learned very quickly because, again, I'm self taught. So I upgraded to Dreamweaver. And then around that time, Adobe, sensing that Dreamweaver was sort of knocking them off the off the market because of the advancements in that tool, their response to that was to come out with a program called Go Live, which again was as the same idea. Conceptually, it was a WYSIWYG, or what you see is what you get type of a program. So you could design your websites visually. Because if you don't know this already, Adobe designs Photoshop and Illustrator. So they're all in the graphics arena. So they wanted to upgrade a tool to complement or compete, with Macromedia's Dreamweaver program. Now, around this time, well, actually, what ended up happening was Macromedia, I think after the first .com bust, because I was working in tech in that time, had fallen prey to that, or a casualty of that, and Adobe actually ended up buying Macromedia, and so it all was under one umbrella. I would want to say probably about now around 2001, 2, something around in that area. The blogging thing started to become something that people were starting to pay attention to. And my first blog experience actually was with a tool called Blogger, which was put out by Google. So at that time, it was there was the first introduction into you not needing to purchase an off-the-shelf software program to create an online presence. So I cut my teeth in blogging with a Blogger, and that's what I used for a few years. And then a few years later, WordPress started kind of coming onto the scene, and so around like 2007, 2008, I was then getting into WordPress. Quickly over those years, I was doing practically nothing with this software that I had purchased the years before. I wasn't designing websites from really scratch anymore. And I'll tell you, the number one reason why I was really excited about WordPress in particular was that it started to give functionality that would allow you to design something that I called a blog site. It wasn't fully a blog, but it wasn't really a website in the sense of which I had cut my teeth designing websites. Meaning that I wanted a website for a client that looked like a website, not a blog, masquerading as a website. And so as WordPress came along, it began to allow us to download different kinds of templates and different things they call plugins, or maybe you want to add-ons that would allow you to customize the visual presence of a WordPress website. Nowadays, many quote unquote websites that we look at are WordPress sites that initially were thought to be just a blog, but they actually are a website. For an example, if you go to getpaidforyourcreativity.com, that's WordPress. That's a WordPress platform. I have a blogging section in that, but it's a WordPress foundational site. And I'm going to go into a moment why I think there's great pluses to WordPress and why there are some major, I don't want to label them as minuses as much as I'll say that they are things that you need to be aware of if you're choosing to build your site or host it exclusively on a WordPress platform. So again, I love the fact that I didn't need to have a dedicated software program installed on my computer, as in the olden days, to design a site. That I had an online tool that I could actually my web host company actually managed and ran, and I didn't have to worry about having to purchase software every time they did an upgrade or something like that, which was kind of the case with some of the off-the-shelf stuff that was going on back in the day. If they did a major upgrade, you had to upgrade or pay for that upgrade. So WordPress took all of that away. And it became more sophisticated, and with more sophistication came more tools and more features and more add-ons. But with that said, it also brought in more potential complications. And so, in my experience, having worked with WordPress exclusively now for 10 plus years, again, I love the platform. I think it's a great tool, but WordPress in particular is not. Well, let me back it up. All of the things that make WordPress so dynamic, WordPress does not develop all those add ons or what they call plugins. Those are done by independent contractors who design those functionality plugins or add ons that WordPress takes advantage of and uses so well. And again, it's brilliant. It works beautifully in most circumstances. But again, with my track record of using WordPress, and the one caveat that I really want to make sure I emphasize here is that it's not 100% flawless, meaning WordPress doesn't design all of those tools. It's not under one umbrella. It's basically, I liken WordPress to the frame of a house. So, for an example, you maybe hire someone that actually lays your foundation and they build the frame. But then you need to bring in other contractors to do the things like the installation and put in all of the air conditioning and put down the floors and put on the roof and put in, the windows and all of those are all independent contractors that specialize in those components. And so the builder, or for quote unquote, the person who laid the foundation, does not necessarily control all those other pieces. They oversee it and their frame holds it up in a sense, but they're not the actual person that actually does the installation. They're not the one that actually adds the refrigeration or the heating and cooling. They're not the one that actually puts in the windows and all of the things. And I'm again using a housing or building a home as a metaphor here to illustrate what I'm talking about how WordPress is set up. So again, what the problem becomes is that if for some reason in the case of WordPress, if one of those plugins all of a sudden has an update, but that update doesn't play well with the other plugins or add-ons that you have, it can cause an incompatibility issue, which could go as far as disabling your entire site. And it's happened to me numerous times over the years that I have worked with WordPress that um, WordPress will call for a software update. So maybe the housing, the frame is being updated. And so that update now is not necessarily compatible with all of my plugins. Or one of my plugins, let's say, and let me just kind of break it down. Maybe a plugin, you might have a plugin that you use, for an example, to collect your email addresses. Maybe you, like Leadpages, for an example, has a plugin that you can connect to your WordPress page so that you can actually collect email addresses and contact information inside of your blog post. One of the features that they have is called a pop-up opt-in. So someone can click on a link or an image inside of a blog post or a page, and a pop-up box appears that allows the viewer to enter their contact information without sending them outside of the site to a separate page. You also can funnel your pages that are hosted on Leadpages through your WordPress site so that it feels like they're still in the same container. It doesn't take them out. This is a little bit more advanced. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole too far. But that's just an example of plugins. And there's plugins for all kinds of different features and resources that you would use with a WordPress site. Again, the emphasis on why I'm bringing this up is that these plugins are not designed by WordPress. They're designed by individual independent contractors and companies. And so there's, at some point, if you have a WordPress website for any length of time, at some point, one day, I promise you, those plugins are not going to play well together. One's not going to play well with the rest, or an update's going to happen that's not going to be compatible with the rest. And the possibility that you really highly run the risk into is that your website could be disabled, meaning that you can't pull up any pages on the site. So you would either have to know how to go into the back end of your site through your host to disable a plugin, or at least try to find out what the culprit was that caused the incompatibility issue. And I'm bringing all this up to say is that if it's making your head swim just listening to all of this, if designing websites or setting up WordPress websites is not in your wheelhouse, that's not what you want to be spending your time doing, this could become a major issue for you if you don't have someone on hand like me who can go in and investigate and find out what did you do before the site went down, and then try to reverse engineer what happened to correct the situation so that you can get your site back up again. So while I love WordPress and all of its possibilities, it is something that you have to use caution with, especially if doing this is not going to be the thing you want to be spending your time doing in your business all the time. So what happened several years ago in response to some of the compatibility issues that were going on with WordPress, we started seeing platforms like Wix and Squarespace, for an example, those two come onto the scene to allow people who were quote unquote non-web design professionals that didn't want to become web design professionals, more to the point, didn't want to deal with or figure out the back end, i.e. the tech. They didn't want to be reliant on having a web person on standby that they could call at 2 o'clock in the morning and get them to fix something. And they didn't want to be spending their time trying to figure out what they did as to why their site went down. Another caveat to this, and why I think this is so important and why I want to bring this up as well, is WordPress. Most WordPress websites are hosted through a independent web host like a GoDaddy or a Bluehost or something like that. But a lot of times those services don't provide tech support because WordPress is not their own design. They didn't design WordPress. They just host WordPress. So you can't even always rely on your host company to help you if you get into a jam. So I'm saying all of this to set up what I'm going to be introducing you to today, because I feel like it's a one-stop solution that will help alleviate or eliminate completely all of the compatibility issues, all of you dealing with, potential tech issues, even really knowing about design. I mean, it pretty much takes care of all of it. At least that's why Wix and Squarespace came onto the scene, to eliminate the non-techie person from having to deal with all of the back-end infrastructure and tools and functionality issues that a WordPress site, for as great as it is, could potentially cause. And if you use it any length of time, I guarantee at some point you will experience an issue. I've done it, like I said, for 10 plus years. I've dealt with all of it, so I know that it will happen at some point. So anyway, fast forward up. I started using Leadpages, as I brought up a second ago, as a software service that's hosted on their own servers online about 5 years ago, exclusively to host all of my lead pages or landing pages, or some people call them opt-in pages or squeeze pages. They used to be called back in the day squeeze pages. Essentially, it's a dedicated page where someone can go to that page and there's no links to any other parts of your website. The only thing they can do on that page is give you their contact information or click away. And so those types of pages have been very popular, like I said, for 10 plus at least 15 years. And as time goes on, they've become a very integral part of growing your online business. It's an integral part of your presence, online presence, and an integral part of making a list which grows your business. So they're essential. Some people will have them. I have them buttered in, or I should say sprinkled into my blog post. There's options where you can opt in for things inside of my site. And then I also have dedicated pages. As an example, if you go to my show notes for this episode, which is getpaidforyourcreativity.com/010 for episode 10, there's an option for you to opt in for a freebie. I've got a graphic there at the top. You can click on that. That will take you to a dedicated page. But you can also put hyperlinks inside of blog posts, which are clickable links that you can click on, that will open a pop-up box within that blog post, and you can enter your contact information and then also get any offer or freebie offer or upgrade that I may decide to do. And so this again is Leadpages, and why I bring it up is because in particular, I really love that feature. I love the fact that you can be reading my blog post listening to my podcast on my website, and maybe I have an offer for you, and I can make it an image clickable link, or I can make it a text based link. You can click on that link and it'll open up a little pop up box that doesn't take you out of the website, it doesn't redirect you anywhere else. And you can put in your contact information and immediately be directed to my gift, whatever it is that I gave you. That's one of the things I really love about Lead Pages. They have other tools which I'll go into in future episodes. It's a little bit more advanced. But again, foundationally, this is why I've always liked Lead Pages. And Lead Pages is extremely well known. A lot of major industry heavyweights use Lead Pages, like Amy Porterfield, for an example. I believe James Wedmore is another. I mean, almost pretty much everyone doing business online right now, to some extent or another, is using Lead Pages. Another option out there is called ClickFunnels, I believe. I'm not using that yet. I might at some point, but it's not high on my list. But Lead Pages is like sort of the grandfather. It's been around the longest. It has a very strong fan base. It's used widely. It's extremely reliable. I never have to worry about Lead Pages going down. I don't have to deal with any back end tech anything with my pages. It's built on the what you see is what you get platform, which is brilliant. The templates are already, there's dozens of templates for thank you pages, opt-in pages, webinars, just the list goes on and on. There's hundreds of templates available that can be totally customized with colors and pictures and whatever you want to do. You can embed videos in them and audios into them. It's really a very robust tool. Like I said, I've used it for 5 years. As a paid client, I pay for it. And I've used it with other clients, and I recommend it highly, highly, highly. I really, really enjoy it. So recently, Lead Pages did a very smart move, which I think is brilliant, and decided to add on building your own website on Lead Pages, which is a perfect natural next step. I mean, if you can use it to build your landing pages, why not do your whole website on Lead Pages? And so when they released this about, I don't know how long ago it was. I'm going to say less than 2 months ago. I'm not quite sure how. It hasn't been that long. It's been less than 90 days, I believe, for sure, at the time I'm recording this, that they added on a website builder function feature into their platform. And actually, I'm going to be I'd probably say in the next month or so, I'm going to be actually building one of my photography websites on this platform using it, using the Lead Pages platform to build a photography site. I've been wanting to move it off of what I'm currently have it on now. I don't like the software I'm running for that particular photography site, and I'm not happy with that software, and I also want to move it off of GoDaddy for other reasons. But anyway, I'm going to be, since they are releasing this or have released this new feature, I want to test it out and use it. So in a future episode, I'll share with you my journey and transitioning an existing site off of GoDaddy, off of another software program, onto Lead Pages, now using their website builder. So again, I think it's brilliant. I think it's an extremely smart move, and I can't recommend it high enough that you explore this if you are not already on a service that you are committed to, or if you maybe are thinking about starting a second site and you don't really want to deal with maybe again, if you're happy with what you have, stay with what you've got. But if you are starting over or you don't have anything at all right now, again, I recommend that you really investigate this as an option, because it's really designed for people doing business online to make attractive, mobile responsive websites, which is very important. And I'll speak about that in a moment. Mobile responsive websites that actually help you collect leads and grow and build your list, which in turn helps you grow your audience and your business. So, as I said a moment ago, mobile responsive. Mobile responsive means that the website, it maintains its design integrity, whether you're looking at it on a desktop or on your phone. This is very, very important, because Google actually rates the how much your site is shown in the search based on if it's mobile responsive. So if the person has to use their finger to slide, the screen around to find certain sections of your website, Google does not like that at all. And they will ding you for that. And your site just may not show up in the search results. So mobile responsiveness is extremely important. And so again, Squarespace does this. I'm sure Wix does this, but Leadpages was always built on this principle that no matter if they're looking at a website or a static web opt-in page, that it is mobile responsive, so that it conforms to whatever the device the person looking at it is using, whether it be an iPhone or an Android or an iPad or a tablet or whatever the case may be. It always will maintain its design integrity and be user friendly no matter what they're using. So mobile responsiveness is very important. Yes, you can do this inside of WordPress, but you have to make sure that your template that you're choosing is mobile responsive. And even if you have a quote unquote mobile responsive template, some WordPress templates, they may say they're mobile responsive, but they aren't as much as they should be. So again, this is, if you want to eliminate the concern or the worry about that entirely, go with a platform that was built on that principle to begin with. So that way you don't have to think about that anymore. And whatever you put up is going to look great, no matter if they're looking at it on a big, wide desktop screen on your desktop, or they're looking at it on a handheld device like an iPhone or an Android. Okay. So, with that said, I want to again introduce to you this new feature that Leadpages has added, which again I think is brilliant. It's an online website builder. It will help you set up your site, including your About Me page. And if you didn't listen to that episode, go back and listen to episode 9 at getpaidforyourcreativity.com/009. And that'll talk about the thank you page the About Me page, because that is one of the pages that you will need on your site, which is very important. So these two complement each other very well. You don't need, if you're just starting out, you don't need a massive site with tons of pages. You basically just need like an About Me, maybe a Work With Me, or maybe how they can buy something from you. If you don't have a blog just yet, that's okay too. But again, this just gives you a basic foundational, say a 5-page website, a home page, an About Me page, a Work With Me page, maybe, or there's a services page. You could have something like that, or something along those lines. Again, you can add on pages to this as much as you need to. But again, it's a great tool. I can't recommend it enough. Now, what I want to do here is I want to go over 4 areas why I think this is so important and why you should want to pay attention to this. First, what I love about having a tool like this at my disposal is that if you get an idea for a website or an idea that you want to put out for a site that you want to do, and you've been dragging around for months, possibly even years, trying to get something together, but there's so many options. You don't know which is better than the other. You don't know the tech part. You don't want to deal with all of that stuff. This could be a great option for you. So I just want to talk to you about 4 areas why I think this could be a good option to explore. First, I love it if I get an idea, I can set up my site very quickly, and I don't have to rely on an outside person to either set up my site or rely on them to do quick updates or changes. That's really important. And again, I do this for clients, so I know the importance of being able to have a tool that they can use, that they don't have to rely on me if I'm not available to help them with their site. So I think that's number 1 and a huge one. This is another biggie, number 2. You never have to worry about the site going down, as I mentioned earlier in the beginning of this episode, or having to figure out how to fix it if you accidentally break something, meaning a plugin is not compatible or a theme's not compatible with a plugin or an add-on, and now the site's down and you're scrambling, trying to figure out what to do to fix it. I love the fact that you don't have to deal with that anymore. This is another biggie. You don't have to worry about backing up your website or figuring out how to get it back up online if there is an issue. Again, because if the site goes down, if you don't have a backup of it, there's been horror stories, not it's happened to me, thank God, but there's been stories where people, they've had an issue, a tech support issue, or something that happened, an incompatibility issue, and the site's just gone. So you could have months or years worth of work on this platform that you've been relying on, and something weird or funky happens with the server and your site's just gone. So all of that work you've lost. So if you don't back up every day, I mean, literally, if you're not backing up the site every single day, if something goes wrong one day, you're essentially screwed if you don't have that backup. So using a platform like Leadpages for this purpose eliminates all of that. There's no worry about backing up anything. There's no need for it because they handle all of that for you. And lastly, and this is a big one, is you never ever have to worry about your site being hacked. And I've gone through it myself, and I've gone through it with clients. If your site is hacked, it's just a nightmare. And you literally, like I said, hack can be anything from someone putting something on your site that you don't have a way to take off. I've had that happen to a client of mine, all the way to the site's completely gone. And there's some crazy, unscrupulous people out there in the world. I hate to say it, but it's just the truth. And I've even heard of stories where people have literally had their sites held for ransom. So the person who's found a way into the site can literally say, "I will turn your site back on if you pay me money." It's that serious and that crazy. And unfortunately, WordPress is a platform that's vulnerable to that. I don't want to scare you or freak you out, but it's something that you need to be aware of. It is vulnerable to that. So you do have to be able to stay on top of security issues, suspicious code and things being. I mean, WordPress websites can be hacked. And so that's one of the reasons why I love WordPress for all of the wonderful features and tools and customization options it gives me. But it's a lot more concern and issues that you just need to be aware of. It's not to freak you out, but it's to make you aware of it so you can make a smart choice that works for you. So that's why services like Wix and Squarespace and now Leadpages have become so popular over the years because, again, the average person is not a web person. They don't want to deal with all that stuff. That's not in their wheelhouse, nor should you be. So, not having to think about that kind of stuff, I think, is really valuable and very important. So, again, not having to worry about that alone is well worth its weight in gold. So, for a moment, before I talk more about the Leadpages platform and the tool, imagine having never to think about coding. No relying on a web designer or waiting for them to see your request, let alone get it done in a timely manner. Imagine having an idea for a lead magnet. Maybe you want to give away a coupon for something in your Shopify store or on Etsy, or maybe you have a free report or a video or something that you've done and you want to get it out there right away. Imagine being able to do that. No problem. With Leadpages, again, you can just sign into your account. As I mentioned earlier, choose from hundreds of templates, customize it to match your visual branding, add your messaging, hit republish, and you're done. Now imagine how cool is that to be able just to have that kind of functionality. Now imagine, and that's just with their Leadpages. Now imagine that same functionality, that same ease of use being available to you now on your own website, hosted on Leadpages. So here's what I have for you today. As I mentioned at the top of the show, Leadpages is a guest sponsor for this week's episode. And I just want to say that because as a longtime customer, I'm also a Leadpages partner, meaning that I am an affiliate for their program. So should you decide to become a Leadpages customer through what I'm sharing with you today, I will receive a small commission if you decide to do that. I do have to say that in what I'm sharing with you so that you're aware that that is how this arrangement is working. As again, I'm a longtime customer. I believe in them and I believe in what they have to offer. They have excellent customer service. I've never experienced a problem that couldn't be resolved quickly, so I really can't recommend their service highly enough. And as a matter of fact, I've been using them so long that I even have a mini course on how to create an irresistible list building freebie. And in that training, I have a module in that training on how to set up a lead capture page using Leadpages. So if you'd like to know more about that, I provided a link to that in the show notes. You can opt in for a free checklist on how to build that freebie, and then that redirects over to a page where you can learn more about this mini course that I have available. So I'll put that link in the show notes as well. But this is kind of the Ginsu knives part of the infomercial. But wait, there's more. so so I have something even bigger for you today. As I've been talking about throughout this entire episode, I've been talking about Leadpages as an option. And again, this is just another reason why I love them so much. Leadpages just announced that they have launched a free workshop, online workshop called Create a Website That Converts and Actually Have Fun Making It. And it's a 9-part video training, free, completely free, that walks you through soup to nuts, everything you need to know about setting up a website. So this is just a quick overview of the areas that they're going to cover with you in this 9-part video course. The first video is an orientation, so you get an idea of the lay of the land of a website and how it works and all of the behind the scenes stuff that you probably more information than you probably ever thought you'd want or need to know, but it's a good introduction if you've never done a website of your own before. So even though stuff is stuff I've known for years now, but again, it's kind of cool to see someone break it down so simply and go over all of it with you. So the first video is an orientation. Then there's 8 additional modules, one on website basics, website goals, actually how to build your website using their platform. Then they have 2 modules on content marketing, which is fantastic and goes well beyond just building a site. One is on signature content, how to create your own signature content. The second one is on lead magnets. So that one is, again, what I mentioned earlier. You need to give people something to get them to give you their contact information. Again, that can be a coupon, that can be recipes, that can be a page out of your book or your ebook. It can be an audio, a video, it doesn't really matter. It can be a quiz, whatever it is. But this is a way you need to create something enticing and irresistible to get people to give you that information. So they have a whole module on that. So that's the second part of a 2-part content marketing training that they offer. They also go over tools and another module on optimizing your website. So if the whole SEO, search engine optimization thing has always been something you've heard about but don't really fully understand, this module is great on that. And then the last module is on campaigns that you can design with landing pages that you can also build in, guess what? Leadpages. So again, I'm going through the training myself right now, even though I've done this for, like I said, almost 15 plus years, actually no, 20 years I've done this. But I'm going through the training myself right now just to really see exactly how they're doing it. But I'm very excited about this, and I think that you're going to love it. And again, it's totally free, and you can get your hands on it if you go to getpaidforyourcreativity.com/LP, that's the letter L, the letter P, workshop. So that's getpaidforyourcreativity.com/LP workshops. That's LP for Leadpages, LP workshop. And when you opt in, you'll also have an option to sign up for a 14-day free trial to Leadpages to test everything out. So and when I signed up for Leadpages, they didn't offer that. You just had to buy it. So if you're even mildly curious, sign up for that 14-day free trial. Go through the training. It's, again, 9 modules. It won't take you more than, really, honestly, you can do it in a day. If you just set aside a dedicated afternoon to watch all 9 modules, you can do it like really quickly. It doesn't take a long time. And like I said, so take advantage of the free training and you can start putting together your own landing pages and now your own website. And I want to also offer something to sweeten this pot even further to really encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity if it's a fit for you. If you have something already that you're happy with, don't worry about it. But if you're really thinking about changing, you want to test it out and see what it's actually like to work with them and the platform and stuff, sign up for the free training, even if you don't even sign up for the service. Sign up for the 14-day free trial. You can cancel before day number 14 and not get billed. Again, if you do decide to become a customer, I do get a commission for that. So, with that in mind, I want to help you even further. So, if you decide after the 14-day trial and after you've done your own website using the platform with all the training that they give you, if you liked everything that you learned and you're happy with your site and you think, you know what, I'm going to stick with them, I like what I'm seeing here, go ahead and go past the 14-day free trial and actually become a customer. They have three different platform plans that you can sign up for, three different levels that you can sign up for. Choose the one that's best for you. But I want to add this extra bonus on top of it. If you should decide to stay a Lead Pages customer and you opt in after the 14-day trial is over, if you decide to become a Lead Pages customer and you opt in for, you can do monthly or annual. If you do annual and you prepay for the year, you become an annual Lead Pages customer, forward your receipt to me at either askrodney@getpaidforyourcreativity.com, or you can take a screenshot and DM me a copy of your receipt on Instagram. And I'm going to have the links for all of that, how to reach me on Instagram and the email address. I just mentioned it, everything inside the show notes at getpaidforyourcreativity.com /010 for episode 10. So either forward that receipt to me either through email or DM on Instagram, and I will personally get on a Zoom call with you, video call, and I will do a 30-minute get started with Lead Pages onboarding session with you as my personal gift to you if you decide to upgrade and do the annual plan. So you have to do the annual plan, not the month to month, but the annual plan. If you prepay for an annual plan, no matter which of the three levels you decide to go with, forward that receipt to me either by email or Instagram, and then we will schedule a time to do an onboarding call with you, and I'll answer any additional questions you might have about Lead Pages. I will look at your website that you've already put together. If you're stuck on anything, I can help you with that. It's going to be totally up to you. I will help you with that. And I'm going to even take it a step further, which is something that I hadn't planned on doing, but it just popped into my head, so I decided to go for it. I mentioned a moment ago that I have my own mini course. It's actually a paid mini course on how to design an irresistible list building freebie. So if you prepay for a year, you forward the receipt to me, we get on a call for the onboarding session, I will actually gift you that course, my own course on how to build your own irresistible list building freebie, which complements what they already have. And I will throw that in as my gift. So, again, that's how much I stand behind this tool. This is how much I love this tool. This is how much I believe that you're going to get tremendous value out of it. And it's my way to give back for all the years I've used the tool and how much I believe in it and how I believe it can help you set up your own successful online presence for your creative business. So again, everything I've talked about is on the show notes page at getpaidforyourcreativity.com /010 for episode 10. The links to the email, how to get connect with me on Instagram, the link to sign up for that free Lead Pages workshop. And when you sign up for that workshop, you'll be given an option to opt in for a 14-day free trial. That link, I don't have that. You'll get that when you opt in for the free training through Lead Pages. And then if you decide to become an annual prepaid customer, you forward me the receipt, then I will do that 30-minute onboarding, one-on-one onboarding session with you. And I will also bonus you my own paid mini course on how to create an irresistible list building freebie. So that was a lot, but I feel like that you've got some good stuff to get you started. Check that out. And if you have any questions for me, feel free again to message me on Instagram. I've been really trying to get better with DM and messaging people back. So you can find me on Instagram at Creativepreneur Podcast. Again, the link will be in the show notes. DM me there if you have any questions about Lead Pages, you have any questions about any of the things they're offering, any of the things I'm offering. I'll be more than happy to answer that question. Follow me on Instagram as well. And until next time, I'm very excited to share this with you. And I know it's going to be the first foundational step in setting up a highly successful online presence, which we all need as creative entrepreneurs. So with that said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take advantage of all of this. This is a limited time opportunity, so I don't know when you're listening to this. I may not be offering the onboarding session anymore, Depending upon when you're listening to this, maybe if it's months or a year later, you're listening to this, I may not be doing that anymore. If not, I will respond and let you know that. But at least for the now and in the foreseeable future, I will be offering that 30-minute onboarding session if you become an annual Leadpages client. And I will be giving you that irresistible freebie course of my own in addition to their course that they're going to give you. So with that said, have a wonderful rest of your day. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Creatorpreneur Podcast. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. We have entered the age of creative self-employment. In the new economy, people are creating true security for themselves. That's why I believe there has never been a better time in history to monetize your gifts. So if you're ready to take control of your financial and creative future, I have something for you. It's my free audio and PDF program, 57 Ways to Monetize Your Gifts and Create True Security for Yourself. And you can get that at my website, getpaidforyourcreativity.com/57ways gift.